Fierce. Downright Fierce. Downright Fierce.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Downright Fierce Gaming, America's most subtitle-pending podcast. A couple things. One, I think I just ran into the intro a little bit. I tried to time it because I've been noticing that the beginning of all of our like video on demands, and it's not the audio part because I edit those, but the video on demand, it always just like starts with staring at the camera. I'm like, that's kind of weird. I want to, jump into it. I feel like I stepped all over my hello.
Yeah, you might have, but yeah, that's the beauty of post-production.
And the second thing of three things now is subtitle pending. That was going to be depending on whether or not the Jaguars won or lost, and I forgot to change it now, so it got left as subtitle pending.
Yes, Burgundy will read anything that's on that teleprompter.
And then the third thing is my name is Josh Asensio. With me is
Brian Kaminsky.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Not too much. How you been? Actually, I know exactly how you've been because within our Downright Fierce chat, I know exactly how you've been spending all of your free time. You dirty boy.
Wait, what?
I just know that it's involving a very, lots of white sticky substances. Back to the news. What games have you been playing, Josh?
No, I've been working. I'm like Beyonce. I've been working. That's how that goes. I've been working. Watermelon. I don't know.
On the railroad?
Yeah, a little bit. All the
Something
long
like
day.
that.
I've been working a lot. I actually haven't been playing that many video games, except for one, which is a fantastic game that I can't wait to talk about. But I've
Do
been
you
working
now
really
get my
hard.
reference?
Oh!
Now that's another white sticky substance.
Spider-Man. Oh, and yeah, my fiance in the chat, Spider-Man, Josh.
You have been
I
obviously
could hear
working
her
a lot.
laughing from across the house. I could hear her. Let's go into Fierce News, please. There it is. I'm not even gonna ram. We're not even gonna ram.
No, nothing like that.
No ram. Fierce News is, of course, brought to you by Pomade and Tonic. So we don't normally go political on the show. I try to stay completely away from politics. Oh, actually, sorry, ADD, real quick. So like the podcast used to happen, like what used to happen with the podcast all the time. We had technical issues. We are not currently streaming on YouTube and Twitch right now. We're only on Facebook Live. It's actually not my fault. It is not my fault. We use Restream.io, and they are just not working right now. Yeah. So it's not my fault. Just putting that out there, not my fault. But I apologize to YouTube and Twitch viewers. We'll still have the the video on demand and stuff go onto YouTube, but that's the thing. So
bottom line, get to Facebook Live if you want to watch.
Yeah. So like I said, we don't normally go political on the show, but there was some very disturbing news regarding China.
Okay.
That we must address.
Fair.
China is looking to limit how long and how often some of its citizens can play video games. So this is clearly a human rights violation, by the way. This is absolutely a human rights violation. They must be stopped. #bomb China. Okay? Turn that place into glass. Okay? You cannot do this to your citizens, China. That's fucked. That's fucked. This is allegedly due to concerns over child nearsightedness. You remember that old thing that your parents used to tell you, don't sit too close to the TV or you'll go blind?
Well, I mean, as a person who did have a very strong nearsighted prescription from the age of 6.
Okay.
And I sat maybe about a foot from the TV.
But science has now taught us that that's not a thing.
Right. I mean, it obviously was other contributing factors to that.
Nobody told China, though.
No, apparently. Well,
China.
Yeah, they have their own history, so.
They do. So they're planning to limit the total length of online play using age prompt systems or possibly just with parental supervision.
Well, so in other words, they're telling the parents how to parent.
And you know what? Here's the thing. I would be okay if they're just like, hey, PSA, limit your child's, use of online play or just video game play. And I'm cool with that. If you want to make a healthy suggestion, sure, why not? In fact, I don't know if you notice on like every Nintendo game, it's right before everything starts like, hey, play for a couple hours, then go outside.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like a little warning. It's like, hey, video games aren't everything. Just, go outside and yeah. And actually, yeah, Haley says nearsightedness is strongly related to time spent outside in daylight.
So
actually, that maybe it is Nintendo's fault now. Go outside and becomes nearsighted, and nearsighted, and then yeah.
So,
but so, I'd be cool with that. But if they're gonna do something, and this isn't like a hard thing to get past, it's like YouTube age verification.
yeah, exactly.
It's just but it's still an impedance, and it's sending the wrong message. I feel like it needs to be backed up by science. There's no study for this. The statistics that they're pulling off of is the fact that, like, I think it was like I forgot what percentage, but it was a high percentage of their children with nearsightedness, and it's gone up. And they're saying video games immediately, just it's video games' fault.
Right. I mean, there's obviously so many variable factors with that it's not a legit study and anything like that. I think I agree with you that it's more the concern of, if there would have been a PSA, like you said, hey, get a little bit of time outside, don't spend the entire day cooped up, get some exercise, with those aspects of it, yeah, I would be all for it. But it's one of those things that, like you also said, it's going to, the way they say it, get easy to get around.
Yeah.
But, when a government's taking the time to make that kind of statement, I mean, it just comes across as petty and pedantic. And why are you spending your time on this?
And there are going to be parents out there who don't do the research themselves and now take their government's word. Oh my God, I sound like one of those people. You just sit there, listen to your government. You're just like a sheep. Bah, bah. No, it's not like that. But I mean, there are the people who are kind of sheep-like and just listen without, doing the research themselves. And okay, it's just video games. I get it. It's not like a big deal. It's not like they're saying, hey, you can't learn because, learning is stupid. It's just video games, but it's still, that's kind of fucked.
I think, yeah, if it would just be a general, they come out with a statement, hey, we've just noticed this, yeah, at the end of the day, also, it is the onus on the parent to, we all have our own theories on, parenting. How much time should a person spend on video games? Different parents do. Being a high school teacher, I see some who use it as their primary means, and there's others where they say, kind of like my family was. When my homework was done was when I could play.
Exactly.
And even then, if I was in my room for more than a couple of hours playing the games, they did usually say, hey, at least, interact with the family, have a conversation, or go outside and play, or, or play with my action
figures.
There's
a healthy balance.
Exactly.
But to put a boogeyman behind it, I think is kind of silly. Anyways, that is the only amount of time that we are allowed because of China to have any kind of video interaction with you. So we want to thank you guys so much for watching. We do this every Monday on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, and Stitcher. You can watch us every Sunday on Facebook.com, YouTube.com/DownrightFierceGaming, or Twitch.tv/DRFPodcast. You can follow us on Twitter at DRFPodcast, Twitch.tv/DRFPodcast. I already said that. Merchandise at Teespring.com/DownrightFierce, Patreon.com/DownrightFierce, where you can kick us a couple bucks a month, and it gets you thanked at the end of the episode. So we want to thank Mark Mayfield. Thank you, Mark Mayfield. We want to thank Tristan Haynes, Brian Altano, Damon Hadfield, and MC Lars for letting us use their music. I want to thank our executive producers, Carolina Jarvis, Brian Kaminsky, and Andrew Kirk. Get it? Get it?
Yeah.
Because then it would be done.
Yeah.
That was the joke.
I was really hoping, looking at the counter, we were getting up close to 15 minutes. I was hoping we could do it exactly 15 minutes, but then I'd have to explain the joke prior to it, and that doesn't work.
I also cut off my goodnight. I realized that I cut off my goodnight, so god damn it, that joke didn't go over as. And I was rushing through it. I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm actually closing. No, I have to commit to the joke. Do the entire thing.
I was gonna say that, geez, that Patreon money, you've just been burning through it.
Yeah. Our episodes will now be in 15-minute segments. Although, I did have an idea recently. If only I had the time. I don't have the time to do this, but if only I had the time, I wanted to have a daily video game news segment, like 5 minutes or something, in the style of like Talk Soup.
Oh yeah.
Where like it's just like me standing behind, with the green screen behind me, and then just doing jokes. About real news things, but
basically like your own monologue type thing. If
I ever become rich enough, then I probably still won't have time. But I mean, maybe we'll see. If I somehow miraculously get time, then I will do that. So speaking of idiotic people with authority, that would have been a much better segment if I just came back to that. Segue. Sony is really driving the point home that they have zero intention for future crossplay. According to The Independent, Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida, I'm getting much better at pronouncing Japanese names, said, quote, on cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. He went on to say, quote, but actually, we already open some games as cross-platform with PC and some others. So we decide based on what is the best user experience. That is our way of thinking for cross-platform. You're fucking lying to me. You fucking liar. You Kenichiro Yoshida, you son of a bitch. Are you, dude, that is the most backward ass shit. Like, you're going to decide what's good for me? Are you serious? That's what that, no. I should have written down something more specific about my opinions on this because I'm too heated right now, Brian. I'm too heated.
You really are. I might have to cool you off a little bit there. You need it?
Yeah, just fucking
flash dance.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Oh, this, you know, and you've been mostly playing PS4 too.
White sticky. And here's the thing: I love Sony, but they. Okay, so here's what I don't like about this. It's just like the China thing. Do not decide what is good for the consumer. Let the consumer decide what is good for them. And it's not an actual reason why they're doing this. They're just giving an excuse as to why they don't want to do crossplay. Like they can't just come out and say, "Oh, we're kind of afraid that if you realize you could play on Xbox, that you might go out and get an Xbox." No, dude, like, we already got your system. We like your system. Gamers have multiple systems and we want to cross play within those systems.
Right.
And it makes it better for the consumer, and they don't give a shit about that. And it's because they don't have to. They're the leader right now. That's the only reason why they're not doing this, because they just don't have to.
Yeah, it boils down again to the corporation just really trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
I think. And they, you know, again, looking at me from a general perspective, it is one of those things that I do find it frustrating that, you know, the same game gets released, but I can't play it with some of my friends because I have Xbox One and they have PS4. And I'm not one of those people who makes enough money to go out and have multiple consoles. Several people do. But at the end of the day, you know, what ends up happening is I kind of had to make my decision early on. Yeah. And I'm kind of stuck with it.
Well, it's not only just being able to play with people on other platforms. That is a little bit more difficult. It is also having a save profile on one console, like Fortnite. Fortnite's a big thing.
Yeah.
With Fortnite, your Switch, mobile, and Xbox account are all linked, so you could do stuff on your Switch, and then you can go and play on your Microsoft on your Xbox, and then you can still progress.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
So it's things
not
like
three
that.
different characters.
It's not necessarily, and you know, Sony, they won't have any of that. Now the cross-platform playing, like, you know, like competitive and stuff, that is a little bit trickier, but it is still lumped in the same argument. And they also, I mean, they said in this quote that we've already opened some games across platform. They're trying to say, oh no, we're part of that. We're just being very choosy. You want to know the games that they were very choosy on?
Please do tell.
Here's a list of it. War Thunder. I don't know. Paragon. I am aware of that one, but it's a free to play game.
Okay.
I mean, so is Fortnite, but still. DC Universe Online. None of these are system sellers.
No.
Final Fantasy 14, not a system seller. Rocket League, that one, yeah. But they also let that one go for free on their PlayStation Plus, like, you know. Street Fighter 5, I'm pretty sure it's a free-to-play where you have to actually buy the characters inside the game.
Yeah, I know that's because
Yeah.
one of my students actually was very happy. I think Sagat just came out. He's been waiting a year for him.
But those are the ones I've heard of. There's several others, but I've never heard of them before, and I'm pretty plugged into the gaming community. It's to just say that you've been doing this, and then it's just not garbage games like that, but it's games that they're clearly just not movers at all. Like, it's not a Fortnite, it's not anything like that, and it's just silly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately though, until, you know, something gets called out on it, or until there is an adequate competition for them, I think we're stuck with it.
And that's what I think we're going to see next year. I'm telling you, I've been saying it. I called it with the game streaming. I'm calling it with this. Microsoft next generation is going. Josh, future Josh, this is where you clip. Okay, right here. Clip.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Clip.
Wait.
Okay. Well,
One.
what are we going on? Are we going on 1 or 3?
3.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Okay. That was really dumb of me. I'm sorry. But that's where I'm going to clip. Microsoft, the next gaming cycle, the next console generation will be the leader, and they're going to be hand in hand with Nintendo. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, this is not where I'm not, calling this shot. I'm just saying I would not be surprised as well if we start seeing some cross IP stuff between Microsoft and Nintendo. How do you take down the giant? You grab your friends.
Yeah.
Microsoft is struggling for IPs. Nintendo's got a bunch. Nintendo's struggling with hardware and stuff. Microsoft's got that.
It definitely makes sense.
There's my fingers together.
There's a lot of synergy that goes out. You see it so many times now. I mean, in industries that are dying, you always see the mergers. Why is Baskin Robbins next to Dunkin' Donuts?
Oh, yeah.
And things like that. I think you definitely could see, like you said, the synergy there. Just a tiny little glitch.
Mark says 3 shall be the number of the counting, and the number of the counting shall be 3. I don't get that reference.
Neither do I, but it definitely seems like it belongs. It does, and it sounds like it belongs in the Department of Redundancy department.
Well said, Mark. So I'm starting to think that EA is getting the message about the perception of their company.
Oh,
so
that it's crap?
these. Well, no, hold on. Okay, hold on. I am all for the bandwagon of EA charges too much with all the DLC.
Right.
EA is greedy. I will jump on that like nobody's business.
Yeah.
They're out of touch. It's fine. But EA produces good games.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they do.
I mean, because that's the thing. People I love Brandon. He's he's a great friend. He's on our podcast and stuff. But he's one of the people that says that EA doesn't make good games. Bullshit. Yes, they do. They make great games. They make good decisions as a company. And they do good things for the gaming community as well. They have their independent something program where they don't make any money off these games and they just help games get made. Mm-hmm. They just recoup costs. That's it. So EA, as far as that goes, they're fine by me. But the whole microtransactions and the DLC things. So I think that they're starting to... Sorry, I just saw in chat. Mark Mayfield says Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts comprise Dunkin' brands, so they're together. And he goes hashtag fat guy knowledge.
Well, it's like I know KFC or the Kintaco Huts, KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut are all owned by the same company. Yum, but it's just one of the things that originally separate stores now have merged.
Yeah,
for cost of businesses. So, but anyway, continuing to go to
Nintendo, Microto.
Nintensoft?
Nintensoft.
Nintenxbox?
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
There we go.
So one of my favorite memes is the EA meme, where it's like the Beatles, but it's BEA, like with the big thing, and it's I guess some of the members. Anyways, I believe in response to that popular meme, BioWare has recently announced that all future post-launch story content will be free. So that's not very common, especially for EA to do. There's still going to be cosmetic DLC that will be available for purchase, but... Oh, I'm sorry. To find out how that sentence ends, you'll need to unlock it for $3.45 and watch the last 50 episodes, or watch the last 50 episodes of Downright Fierce Gaming.
You're making it a grind, aren't you?
I mean, you don't have to pay. You could just watch the last 50 episodes, and then I'll tell you how that sentence ends.
You could. You're such a tease.
It was a good sentence, y'all.
It was
a good sentence. Patreon.com/gaming.
That's right. So with my subscription, then I'll tell you
at the end of the thing. I'll tell you now. But come on.
Oh man. My goodness, where do I sign up?
So, speaking of EA, players have noticed some interesting censorships in Battlefield 5's beta. This is my favorite story of all time.
Okay.
I think in the history of us doing this podcast, this is my favorite story.
I can't wait to hear what ludicrousness you're about to unleash upon me.
The in-game chat profanity filter is censoring white man. If you type white man, you get asterisks in place of white man. So
Can you type snowman?
I don't know. There's lots of ways to get around profanities like that. First of all, I want to say I'm fine with this. I mean, white men have suffered far too much throughout the years. You know, especially lately, they've been persecuted and judged for the color of their skin. And clearly, EA is taking a stand against persecution.
And I am judging you solely on the content of your character.
I'm not. I mean, I'm technically I'm white, but I'm Hispanic. I'm like light brown. But for real though, they've said that they're just tweaking, like, you know, the system, and I guess, you know, they're trying to fight against toxicity, which is good.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
it's a good system of a down song. It's not a good thing to have in video games.
No, it isn't. It's absolutely not in video games.
Yeah, but here's the best part.
Okay.
So they acknowledge that. They're like, oh yeah, no, we're tweaking stuff that got through. It's, you know, we're still working on it. We just want to be a good environment for gamers. What they aren't acknowledging is the fact that, and this isn't a joke, not a joke at all. I am not making a joke right now. I know I've been ending these news segments with jokes. This is not a joke. If you type DLC into it, it's censored. But it won't be censored if you preface it with free. If you type free DLC, not censored. If you type DLC, censored.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, Mark Mayfield, please God, don't tell me that we're lagging in audio, because I will cry.
I don't think that.
I have a feeling that's what they're saying in chat. But anyways, free DLC, totally politically correct. But DLC, now you have a dirty word.
You do.
And it's EA. I mean, you can't. Come on.
Yeah.
It's so good.
we get a double ending to the sentence.
That's
I feel
true.
like I got even more from my 345.
I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, that's really funny. That's really fucking funny.
Yeah, I mean, the irony is just hilarious when you have all of these different things, and just it's kind of like what we were saying, you know, with the kids in China. If they really want to get around the video games, you know, playing for a certain amount of time, they're going to find a way to do it. With chats like these, they always find different ways to get around.
D.L.
Yeah, exactly. D space
DX or space or yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always all of those different things, but it's just, hilarious.
It's just such a white man DLC for them to do, though. Seriously.
Yeah.
So in other news, Nintendo might have accidentally leaked the next Yoshi game title. It was spotted by Twitter user the OGEVG. It's unfortunate. On Nintendo's official site, in the suggested game section, Yoshi's Crafted World appeared on the list. Now, Nintendo has taken it down since, but here's an interesting about this as to why this happened.
Okay.
So there was this all happened on September 6th, and there was a scheduled. That's important.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Days run together.
So there was a scheduled Nintendo Direct that day, but then there was an earthquake in Hokkaido.
Oh yes.
And Nintendo canceled the Direct out of respect. When sites like that update their site, it's not just like click save as new website. Like it's a process, and they usually schedule these things out for the future. So they were gonna have their Nintendo Direct, and it makes sense that they were gonna announce the name Yoshi's Crafted World and say it's now available for pre-order. And then that's when the scheduled thing went through. So all of a sudden they have to cancel. They're like, oh no, hey, we're gonna just cancel, push off this Nintendo Direct because we're out of respect. But they forgot to take down the scheduled post, and here we go. So I think that's what happened.
Yeah, makes sense. What do you think the game would be about?
So I have thoughts. With all these, like the new Donkey Kong game and the Kirby game and stuff, they've all been side scrollers. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a side scroller, but Yoshi's Crafted World, it's still pretty popular to have crafting style games. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like Minecraft, but I bet you there's going to be some kind of resource gathering or some kind of like, you know, just resource building game centered around Yoshi, probably puzzle based. But I think there is something that can be taken away from Crafted World, just because it's such a trending word right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be something. You do have the resource management aspect of it, and then also be able to sorry, I just looked at Mark in chat right there with all of the definite other things that you see within gamertag names because they're all, 14. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that's, again, with the success of Minecraft, has kind of become that trend, and just to see, who can potentially build some of the great creations. I would imagine that probably an aspect of, being able to share it online, see who creates some of the other ones, and then, have that puzzle aspect, like you said, to it. So,
and then if you don't eat, you die.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
you
a
don't eat or
Tamagotchi.
drink, you die. Well, yeah, that's been in the crafting games, like it's always that meter that goes down every food and drink meter. So, Yoshi can die if he doesn't eat or drink. That's another aspect, possibly. We'll see. Moving on, if you have an Xbox One and an Amazon Echo, you will soon be able to control your console using the Amazon Echo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The skill will allow you to turn on and off your console, launch games, apps, control volume, control media playback, navigate menus, capture screenshots and videos, and more. Using this new feature, however, will force your Kinect to cry in a corner and cut itself. It's interesting.
It is.
It's interesting that your Kinect would, because these are all the things that your Kinect can do.
Yes.
All of that. In fact, you can do it with your hands even and all that. And they're like, hey, here's an exciting new feature. Meanwhile, the Kinect's like, I was here first.
Yeah. I was the Echo before the Echo was cool.
Yeah. That's also why I didn't say the A word, because she's listening. Yeah. Moving on. According to Xbox, Australians are greasy.
What?
Sorry, Australian gamers are greasy. That is why Xbox has announced a limited edition grease-proof controller in Australia.
What?
True story.
My goodness,
True story.
You have
the most delightful news.
You do.
So this is actually kind of a clever thing.
Okay.
It's out of context. Context, yes, pretty bad. Like that was the first thing I thought too. Okay. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those friends. So it's to celebrate the graduation of PUBG from game preview to full game. It's got patented coating of hand-sprayed urethane. I don't know. URETHANE. Urethane that is resistant to grease, namely chicken grease. I understand you don't get that. Sorry.
I'm
but
lost.
For everybody else, chicken grease, PUBG. So when you PUBG, the battle royale game, where it's 1 versus like 100 people.
Yeah.
When you win, it says winner chicken dinner.
Okay.
Chicken grease. So it's for PUBG. It's in celebration of PUBG.
Okay.
Grease proof thing. Chickens are greasy, and so are Australians. I don't know.
See, I just remember when winner chicken dinner was at the casino. Jeez.
So yeah, Ian got that one. Thanks, Ian. So because Jacob and Chris are not here, I feel comfortable talking about Death Stranding. So here we go. It has been confirmed Kojima Productions Twitter via Kojima Productions Twitter account, Death Stranding will be featured at Tokyo Game Show 2018 on September 23rd. Fuck yeah. Cannot see enough of this game. I love this game. All I know is that you walk in it, you walk through mountains, and there's a baby inside of you, and you're a dude, and you're Norman Reedus, and what's his name? Guillermo del Toro is in it.
Oh wow!
And it's going to be so cool, and I'm so excited. So that's enough of that. Unfortunately, because Jacob is not here, I don't know what to say about this next news article. Sega
great.
is bringing the original Valkyria Chronicles to Nintendo Switch later this year. It's going to be available via the eShop on October 16th and will cost $20. It will be released with all the DLC. I don't know anything about that game.
I never played it.
It's such a big deal. There's apparently the people are making a big deal about it. I know nothing about that.
I hadn't heard of it. So, Jacob, we miss you.
Yeah. That's it for the news, though. That's the problem. It's like there hasn't really been too many like big gaming news lately. I feel like we would have had a lot more to talk about with that Nintendo Direct, but this is not. I mean, this is a slow news week as far as like real news, but all that interesting stuff, that was fun.
Yes.
I enjoyed doing that. But now we get to talk about what I really want to talk about.
Yes, you know, I think you've actually just mainly forced through the news just so you could get to this point.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what else can we say about what else can we say about China that you know other people haven't said about China?
I don't know.
And then the crossplay, we did the crossplay, and I don't know.
It's mostly just the level of excitement that I've seen with this game, and only through text.
Spider-Man.
So much so that even with me not even owning a PS4, I went and did watch a live stream of it so that I could see what it is. And from the little brief talk that we had, and what I've seen, it does seem to be everything that you want it to be. So go ahead and gush.
Spider-Man, y'all. Spider-Man.
Apparently you can
God.
do anything a spider can.
It's so good. Okay, so first of all, it's so good. It's so good. Let's compare it though, because we need a point of reference. Because a lot of people have made the comparison between this and the Batman games, which obviously this game takes its roots without even trying to hide it in the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah.
It has similar, countering and dodge and different enemy types, and you have to do this to get around that enemy. I mean, you're a superhero, and you need to there's like stealth parts where you hide up in the rafters and you pull up a guy exactly like Batman does. So there's the comparison.
By the way, in all of these superhero places, why are the air vents so big?
Actually, so in this game, the air vents are a little bit more realistic, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, whatever, comments on that while he's up there. He goes, this has to be the cleanest air vent I have ever been in, because you would expect them to be just covered in dust and all nasty and stuff, and that kind of resources don't need to be going towards an air vent.
Right. That was one of the things that before you get back to the combat style. Also overhearing it and some of the self-referential dialogue, and with the script for that one, they really nailed the characters from the. Again, I've probably watched about an hour of the beginning of the game. Really nail it and just keep you enthralled.
I mean, it's like watching a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I mean, playing it has been like watching a Marvel movie. It's not the best acting, but it's fun. The entire experience is fun, and that's what a video game should be. It should just be fun, unless it's The Last of Us. Then it's fun, but also incredibly depressing. So I don't think the point of reference should be Batman. Because that's its own separate game, own separate mechanics. I think a good point of reference, even though it's a very dated game, would be the beloved Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 2. Now, the thing I love most about this, anytime I start thinking or talking about Spider-Man, I immediately want to play it. And I'm not thinking about the combat even necessarily. I'm thinking about web slinging, which everybody has been saying since they first heard about this. They need to nail traversal. They have to get that right, because the most fun anybody's ever had in a Spider-Man game came from Spider-Man 2 and just going around the city. Right. I remember just doing that for hours and barely getting into the story at all. I don't even know if I finished that. I couldn't tell you what the story was. I just remember swinging around New York City and how much fun that was. So now, what always bothered me about Spider-Man 2 though was when you're swinging around, you can get like above the buildings and still be like doing this. What are you latching onto? You're latching onto the fucking sun, like, or clouds. That doesn't make sense.
Passing birds.
That would be so cool. No, but so it wasn't very realistic. I mean, you could be in the middle of Central Park and you're still just webbing up in the air. In this, every time you shoot out web to swing, it has to latch onto something. And if there's nothing to latch onto, you don't swing. So you're just falling until you hit something that you can, latch onto. So when you're going through Central Park, you're either going very low or you're doing this little move where you can web swing to something in front of you and then jump off of that. And you kind of like do this little jumping move, through low areas. So a lot of traversal is between, going between the high buildings, and then when it's a little bit lower, going above the buildings and using that technique to kind of, jump and do all that. And I love it because it really makes you feel like you're actually doing this, and it adds a difficulty to it.
Because also, if I recall what I saw correctly, depending upon how long you hold certain buttons and things like that, it's, the velocity, I guess.
Timing is important.
Yeah, so it's not just, it's to me like if you actually had that ability and you would have to eventually develop a rhythm to it. I'm assuming that it's something similar to that you eventually find it.
It is, and you have to find the rhythm, and you have to even think about where the web is going every time you shoot it. There's a joke in there somewhere. One of my favorite things to do is to take a corner. You could just do it, you swing past the thing and then you turn around quickly and, then shoot it in that direction. But what I've started doing is I will get myself closer to the corner that I'm trying to take and then wait for him to shoot his web to that building and then hold on longer and swing myself around. Like, I'm actually watching this character as opposed to just, like that and then turning. He's holding on and then just using the momentum, with these amazing physics to actually swing around this corner. And it's just it feels so good when you pull something like that off. And it also feels like you feel like a complete ass when you screw it up, and that happens plenty, but it's just so much fun. The traversal is my favorite part. It's actually, it's my favorite part. My second favorite though is the city. I have to say that is the most realistic depiction of New York I have ever seen in a video game. 100%. I have, because New York is Jamie and I's favorite, city right now. And I've been there 3 times, I think now. No, right. 2 times. And, I remember specifically sitting at this one, bench in Central Park. And the first thing I did was I went to that bench. Now, obviously, it's not the exact same bench. I understand that.
Right.
Like, they didn't do the city is not 1 for 1. It really isn't.
Right.
But when I got to Central Park, I'm looking around like, I know exactly where I am. I know where our hotel was. And I'm just started running away from Central Park. I'm just running, and not even swinging. I'm running down the street. I'm like, okay, it's the second right. And then I took down the second right, and I'm walking. I'm like, everything's the same. Everything's the same. This is so much fun. And the hotel wasn't where it was, and there was an extra gap there. But, that's just, they have to do that because otherwise, if you did a 1 for 1 for New York, it wouldn't be that much fun to swing through. It just, you need to make it a little bit easier. But I still went to the general area where it was, and I went up to the Empire State Building, and they even have the little tourist thing that is exactly like it is on the Empire State Building. I went to 30 Rock, and I went to the little ice skating thing down there, just all these different places. You go there and you're looking around like, this is what it looks like. Times Square. That's what it looks like. Yeah. And that's so cool to see that in a game.
I think that really does add that level of immersion to it, because I even recall when I first played Watch Dogs and it being set in Chicago, and I had this was 2 months after I had been in Chicago for a week with one of my friends, and I started noticing all the different touristy things that we had seen. And then also it's like the same thing that you were saying, I know if we go down here, then that's there too. But not necessarily as realistic as what you've seen, because I've seen, with the gameplay, the city's absolutely gorgeous. And that does add that level of immersion, because now not only are you in the game, but the game feels like it's in the real world, because it's like, it could be one of those things that, you know, if you're from New York City, I bet they and the people who would live there have an entirely different experience. Oh, sure. Because they know their little detours, and they probably take them, and it makes them feel so much better, because now it's, if I would have been bitten by that radioactive spider, then this is how I'd be doing it. Because, and you know, Peter's a native New Yorker, so it brings out that character, that aspect of the story, and that real immersion that we want. It's doing a much better job of blending the reality and the fiction.
And the thing is too is that they didn't have to go into that level of detail, because you don't spend that much time on the street. You really don't. You jump down, you fight for a second, and then you jump back up, and then you go around. Yeah. You know, but to have that there, to know that's underneath you, and that you can jump down at any point, and that's the world that's living underneath you. You know, the buildings, you know, it's easy to have a game like Spider-Man 2 where you couldn't go down to the street level, you know, and it's all just, you know, it's just the buildings. That'd even be a better looking game, but they decided, no, we're gonna have like a living city underneath. And here's another thing that people haven't noticed. You want to talk about detail? The buildings. In that video, did they ever stop and look in the windows?
I don't think they did.
I did. There's like, you could see into buildings. And I mean, there's no people in there, because that would just be insane. I mean, we're not at that level. But there's like furniture and, you know, couch, like a TV and a kitchen. And, you know, it's in certain segments, it's all the same. But on a different building, it's different furniture. It's different TVs. It's different all that. And I'm sure they repeat a lot of that stuff. I'm sure, because nobody's doing what I'm doing, going, and then crawling up like, that's their kitchen. That's their living room. Yeah. That's the hallway to get into their apartment. You know, nobody's doing that, but, you know, but to just have that little bit, right? You know, to be swinging around, because I mean, there are times when you're like, you know, you're swinging and then you stop on a building and you're not looking at it directly, but if out of the corner of your eye you see like a couch, your brain processes that, and you're more immersed, right? Like you're saying, with the detail,
and it's one of those things that, again, you go, you know, also with that level of detail, you know, with you, me, and Jacob all loving role-playing games, and when you have, you know, people who are able to bring about that level of detail in just, you know, a theater or the mind game, but when it also, you can see that, you know, we're the heroes of the story, so obviously the entire world centers around us, but in reality, that's not how the world works. So when you have a story like that, and then you realize that, oh, while I was off doing my cool stuff, and then, oh, wow, something else happened. Yeah. You know, a leader got overthrown. But even, it's always lovely when it's even small things. Yeah. And, you know, that is the aspect of it that I would love too. Like you said, there's different ones. And I'm sure, you know, they repeat a lot. There's
I mean,
there's
we're not there
there's a dozen,
yet.
2 dozen, you know, and there's no people. Like, that to me would be insane, as if then it's just randomly, oh, you know, somebody's napping on the couch. Family's having dinner.
Oh my God. The math that would be required to do that, the computations would be insane.
It would be. But yeah, as you get more and more towards it, I mean, it's not very often that with games like that I'm kind of taken aback and realize that this was cool. You know, I don't own a PS4, but you do, several of my other friends do, and I'm really contemplating to try to.
Oh, I mean, you have to. This is a system seller right here. It absolutely is a system seller. And but more on what you're saying though, like, yeah, we're not there as far as technology, but with most games, I can tell you, like, I don't know how to make games. I don't, but I know enough about programming and those types of you know, programs actually, to know a little bit behind what's behind the curtain, a little bit, you know, enough to be like, oh, I see what they did there. You know, it's that. I have no idea, no clue how they have a living world underneath you that you could just jump down to. Because here's the thing, they can't. Like, when you're going that fast in the city, you're not looking down. While you're not looking down, there's nothing beneath you. There's nothing happening, because our system is not that powerful to generate that as you're swinging through the city. Right. I have no idea how they generated it that quickly, because if you want, as you're swinging, you could just dive bomb and then bam, just land. And now there's all these people around you, and there's no pop-ins. There's no anything like that. It's like it was there the whole time. I don't know how that sorcery works. No idea. I knew how they did it in Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, when you're looking in one direction, it's like what I was saying. There's nothing happening over there, and then they generate it according to where you're looking, and they have this algorithm to make that happen. I mean, again, very basic understanding of that, but I have some understanding that just doesn't apply to this situation because there's way too many variables. There's just so many. How many people are on the ground? Where are those people walking? Let me make sure that it's not the same guy just walking through, same exact character walking side by side. Are there cars? What cars? Like, there's so many things happening and you could just drop and see it all. And there's characters that also don't move. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. In Times Square, this guy plays the guitar on the exact same corner. Exact same. He's always there. He's always there. That's so cool. And I just, it's amazing. I mean, it's incredible. It's amazing.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
It's amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man.
Spectacular.
Ultimate. Sorry.
Well, I also did appreciate that those are the difficulty levels too. But
actually, real quick, Mark does have a really good point. He says, and it's not like they're using low-res assets for a few seconds either, which is what they normally do.
Right.
So when you, when you know what that means.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like when you're like, especially Grand Theft Auto does that all the time, to where you might turn around and everything is like really low-res and looks really weird, and then it just pops into like realistic thing. He's saying that there, it's pretty much instant. It happens like that. I haven't seen any pop-ins, any low-res things. How? Sorry, go on. No,
I mean, I think that's another point to it that makes it so immersive, was that just how you were able to do that. There's no, when that happens, your suspension of disbelief, it goes away for that one little second.
That's it.
You don't have that. So since it's the constant immersion within it, I think that's what's really helping to drive it. And then, again, with some of the watching that I was doing and some of the combat and the side missions, I mean, it's your basic standard stuff that comes into a video game, but it really does just look fun. The way that you were also saying, you feel you're in the movie. You can definitely go and explore and do all of that, but as you stay kind of close to the story and everything like that, it does have that. The dialogue flows so smoothly, and so far from the little bit I've seen, the voice acting I think is pretty solid and spot on. It's funny for me because I was looking, Peter Parker's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who's close to 50.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and if you look at him, I think he's like 47, somewhere around there. He's relatively old, but he still looks like he's in his late 20s.
Yeah.
He looks very young, always plays like happy-go-lucky characters. He's a guy that you really just want to grab a beer with.
Yeah.
Super fun, but I mean, he sounds like a convincing teenager in it.
Yeah, he does. I had no idea.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I was really interested when I saw him, because I just would assume that they would have somebody who would be a little bit younger. But yeah, the voice cast on it is pretty top notch.
It is. Also, Jim Cover says, "Hey guys, hey Jim, how are you?" I was gonna say, oh crap, now I forgot. You were saying the voice acting. This also goes along with the little details part of the game. Again, I don't know how many people notice, but when you're web swinging, they have two different tracks. So if you're web swinging, the voice of Spider-Man is strained. It's, I'll be right there. But if you're not, if you're just standing around, he goes, yeah, I'll be right there. Mm-hmm. It changes according to what you're doing. That's awesome. That's amazing.
And that shows you how much work,
That's like rock star level detail.
Yeah, that's how much actual man hours go into this game. I think so many people take some of these things for granted.
Oh, everybody does.
And
we can't even appreciate it.
Yeah. When you just see that again, not only to get that right, but then how many takes did they do of those singular lines? I mean, I'm sure they're professionals by now. Most of them they can box out in one take.
True,
but it does feel that good, and just it brings out true personalities of the characters in the game.
And for the closing thoughts on this game, I think that first of all, as much as we're saying is amazing with it, it's not a 10. It's not a 10. It got like 9s and stuff, and I feel like that was deserved. The thing that is holding it back is that there weren't, aside from the story, which is amazing, there's not really much else to do with the city other than explore. Maybe you occasionally get jumped and you have to fight a dude or whatever. Yeah. There's really not much to go around and do, but I am fine with that. Personally, I'm fine with that. Game doesn't have to be a 10, but it reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed, which suffered from the exact same thing the first game. You have your missions, you have all that, but then aside from that, there's really not much to do. And then Assassin's Creed 2 came out.
Yeah.
Which, you know, was significantly better than Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed looked terrible. I am so excited to see what they're going to do with Spider-Man 2 that is going to make us look back on Spider-Man and be like, oh, man, I remember when we thought that was a good game? It's hot garbage compared to Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those things, too. I see it being more, again, you have your main mission, and that's what I think that's what they wanted to focus on more, because they wanted to make sure everybody got the good experience. You were right. You've got to nail the web slinging and the traversing right.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy it enough that, okay, then you don't really need anything, because everybody's just going to go web slinging around New York City.
But that gets old after a while.
It does. It does. But that can hold off right now.
For now, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, let's see how this does.
Sure.
And now they'll go, okay, so now we can have more side type missions, because I know there's just pick up his backpacks, you know, but it's a collection mission.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They prove their worth, and now they're, you know, Sony's going to give them Kojima money. You know, it's going to be a blank check. It's going to be like, take your time, do the Rockstar approach, just whatever you need. Make us the best game ever. And you don't have a time window. You could just release it whenever you need to.
Yeah.
And we'll just hype it up, and people will know that it will be an amazing game.
I would see, to me, now I don't know how the story ends, but if it were me personally, I would take a little bit again from the Arkham series, where they have different villains that are doing different quests at the same time. You have your main one. I would see something with a very Sinister Six type storyline, where you have the main villains and they each have their own kind of plot, but they're all working together to you know, it's like all 6 of them are doing their individual thing as part of the grand plan. So you have different types of missions for the base ones that then would culminate.
You know what they should also do in Spider-Man 2 or DLC or whatever? Play as villains, missions as villains. That's how they make it better. You unlock villains. You unlock Venom. You unlock Carnage.
Yeah.
You unlock, well, not Black Cat. She sucks. You unlock,
Craven.
It's Catwoman, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's Catwoman. You know, Hobgoblin, you know, flying around. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's how they make Spider-Man 2 amazing.
Yeah, I would think that too, because that's also a lot of what the Arkham did with DLC, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you play as Joker,
Quinn.
Harley Quinn, Red Hood, which is one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that gun gameplay was so good. All right, so we got to move on to video game 20 questions.
Oh, my God.
Yep, just you.
Oh,
It's where I came up with a random video game, and this dude right here, he's going to have 20 yes or no questions to figure out the name of that video game.
Chat help.
I have made chat go away, so you can't help him now, but please type in your questions into chat that you think would help, because he's going to need it.
Yeah, I'm sure I am.
After 10 questions, I will look at chat and I'll see if there's anything I could pull that would help him. So, start.
Okay, so I know it's always go for the release date. This is usually because I wait for everybody else to do the really framing questions, and then I try to figure it out. So, was it released on or before January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
So it was released beforehand. Okay. I'm also really bad at remembering the answers.
Me too.
Okay, so before January 2000. All right, so that is all of...
Actually, Mark, could you help him out with that? I know you used to do that back in the day. If you were able to. That's why we called him Scribe.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now I have to remember my years. This is what takes me so much.
It was on or before 2000.
Okay. No, but also...
I know.
But the because it's always now generation of consoles...
Just go by decade. That's
I could do that.
The easiest.
All right, then. Was it released on or before January 1st, 1990?
Yes.
Okay. Now at least it's in my... So that's Nintendo, Atari, PC. Well, I'll gamble. Was it released for the NES?
Yes.
Okay. I'd laugh if you just picked Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my God, he's done it again! Another record broken!
I knew you were going to make it that easy on me. Let's see here. What's usually next? Or type of game? Or
I mean, that's up to you. Whatever you think.
Crap.
You nailed down console pretty quick. It usually takes them a little bit.
So, let's see.
And Chris is usually yelling in chat. Oh my God, it's Chris's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris.
I completely forgot about that. Damn it, that means I have to go to rack him up, doesn't it?
Oh, I can't.
Where else would he be?
Fortunately, school night.
Damn it, Chris.
Oh, I like that. Do you play as a human?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question.
Is it a side scroller?
No.
Okay. So you play as a human.
Here's an interesting question. I'll ask it afterwards because never mind. Well, no, you asked side scroller, so I can't say this.
Okay.
Is Mega Man a human?
No, he's a robot.
Is he?
Yeah.
But he has hair. He has hair.
Well, so does the Terminator, but he'd be a cyborg.
Oh, snap. That is a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was, because that's also how he can integrate all the other parts.
Sure.
So,
Well, I mean, but like that, you could be an android. Not an android. You could be a what's half human, half robot? Cyborg?
yeah,
Cyborg. He could be a cyborg.
Yeah.
Maybe he is a cyborg.
I remember in the cartoon that I think that they just made him a robot, but he always had his helmet on, so that was the cop out. But yeah, I know in the other games it shows his hair, so I would just say cyborg.
Okay.
So, so you do play as a human. It's not a side scroller. See, I just start thinking of specific games. Is it a sports game?
Yes. Also, that'd be really funny if it was Mega Man and I'm wearing the shirt. Hold on. Wait.
How many am I on?
Hold on. You're on 6. I will give you okay, so normally we just call it if you guess wrong.
Right.
But the record is 7.
Okay.
Aside from my 1 when I got it on the 1 guess.
Uh-huh.
If you can guess it, then you now have the record. If you get it wrong, we'll just count that for 2.
Okay. So I would have to guess now.
No, to beat the record, yeah.
Okay. But it would have to be a guess. I can't ask one more question.
Correct.
Okay. Is it Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
It is. Wow! 6 questions! 6 questions! Wow!
Brian is back!
Wow! October 18th, 1987, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It is part of a series, by the way. Even though there's not a sequel, if you asked it was part of a series, I would go, yeah, but be careful with that. It is part of a series.
Yeah, because they've released them on many consoles.
Yeah, the Super Punch-Out and all that, which actually, it's a port of both Punch-Out and Super Punch-Out for the arcade games.
Right.
So if you ask is this the first in a series, I would say no. And then I would go, but be careful with that because it's not a sequel, it's not anything like that, it's a port. Wow. One of my favorite games, obviously. One of my favorite stories about that, you might know this. Well, just nuggets of trivia. Yeah.
The fact that in the original game, the one character's name is Vodka Drunkensky, not Soda Popinski.
Okay.
And Nintendo, for the port, when they released it in America because they wanted to be more family friendly, they had him change it to Soda Popinski.
It's like Tapper.
Yeah.
It used to be Beer Tapper and then it's Root Beer Tapper.
Yeah. And it was just funny because actually still with some of the dialogue, it's like it says, I'm going to make you punch drunk and things like that. So there's still kind of quasi references to it. But, I really love that one. And then I'm sure you also saw the Easter egg that took 17 or 20 years to find about Bald Bull.
Yeah. What was it that there was somebody in the...
There's one of the photographers in the crowd.
Oh, and he's like signaling where the punch is coming from.
No. He's taking a picture because you see the flash bulbs in the background. And if you look at one specific one, when he flashes while Bald Bull does the bull charge, that's when you're supposed to hit the one punch and you'll hit him in the gut and you'll knock him down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Also going back pretty far, but David Radcliffe, and I said his name right. Not Daniel, David. I'm pretty sure they already planned a Black Catwoman DLC chapter. Damn it. Maybe it'll be fun. Who knows?
Might be.
Wow. New record, bro. Oh. Good job.
I mean,
that was impressive. That wasn't an easy game.
No,
Like,
it's just
I try to do it in the wheelhouse of like I know who's coming on, I know what kind of games they play, so I try to have it like at least the scope of something that the person would know.
you're not gonna like be giving me a Switch game.
Yeah, or like even like I would say PS3 because you're like catching up on like 360 and PS3 games. So like wow, okay. Anyways, that does it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We do this every Sunday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Facebook.com/JohnRFierceGaming, YouTube.com/JohnRFierceGaming, and Twitch.tv/DRF Podcast. We apologize again this week because of Restream. We weren't able to do YouTube and Twitch, but we should, hopefully that's going to be working next week. You can buy merchandise. You can buy t-shirts and posters and stuff at teespring.com/downrightfierce, or you could just give us your money right to us, and it goes to the lights, and it goes to paying Restream to not work. It gets you all of our exclusive content 1 week early, and
The restreams are our DLC.
Yeah.
Microtransactions.
And also, here's another DLC. I am going to have the dad joke video either up today or tomorrow. Dad joke 3. It is going to be a Patreon exclusive content thing. You could only watch it on Patreon, and I'll tell you why. The jokes are great. You were there.
Oh yes,
very
I
happy
was.
with the jokes. But the microphone wasn't working on my microphone. The video was weird. There were so many reasons why it just didn't work out.
It was unfortunate.
It was very unfortunate because the content was fantastic and we were a little tequila drunk. So there's that incentive as well. So if you want to watch that, you have to be a Patreon subscriber. So again, that is patreon.com/downrightfierce. I will put that up either tonight or tomorrow.
Now, just also, I'm asking, is what we teased at the end of that video, is that still have potential?
It depends on if the guys are down to do it.
Okay.
I'm down to do it.
It
needs to be more than just us.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But, also, for the people to put a little bit more money into that Patreon, we do tease that there could be a new series.
That's true.
So
maybe. It also gets you thanked at the end of the episode. So we want to thank Mark Mayfield. Thank you very much, Mark Mayfield.
Thank you, Mark.
I also want to thank Tristan Haynes. Thank you, Tristan Haynes.
Thank you, Tristan.
I want to thank Brian Altano, Damon Hatfield, and MC Lars for letting us use their music. I want to thank our executive producers, Carolina Jarvis, Brian the Champ Kaminsky.
High score Brian.
High score Brian.
Yeah.
I like that. It has a flow to it. I like
it does.
I'm going to make a little note here. That is how
I'm thanked now until somebody goes 5. By the way, this is episode 67, so I've taken the record from 7 to 6. So I think,
hey, it's Kismet.
Yeah.
Kismet. Am I using that word right?
I've heard
Kismet.
it, but I'm not sure.
I've been working on expanding my vocabulary, and I've had like a 90% success rate.
Good.
So, but I feel like this is now that 10%.
Yeah.
I think Kismet. Alexa, what does Kismet mean?
Kismet is a city in Seward County, Kansas, United States. Kismet is a musical with lyrics and musical adaptation by Robert Wright and George Forrest, adapted from the music of Alexander Borodin, in a book by Charles Lederer and Luther Davis, based on Kismet, the 1911 play by Edward Knobloch. Kismet is a 3-act play written in 1911 by Edward Knobloch. Kismet is an unincorporated community in Madera County, California.
We're here listening
to a 1980 Hindi-language Indian feature film directed by Vishen Kohli, starring Neetu Chakraborty, Ranjita Kaur, Shakti Kapoor, and Om Shapuri. Kismet is a super yacht which was built.
This is your public service announcement. Go out and educate yourselves. Stay in school, kids.
Formed in 1993 by ex-Mizar guitarist Goras Chapovsky after that band's breakup in
Alexa.
1991.
Shut up about Kismet! Haley helped us. Kismet means fate or destiny.
There we go.
It was Kismet.
No, wait, yes, I do have to give a shout out to Haley. She told me to, and if I don't, she'll be very upset. So that high score was for you, babe.
There it is. So Brian, high score, Kismet Kaminsky.
Kisminsky? No.
Kisminsky! Ah! Yes! Kisminsky! I'm changing that too.
Oh, gosh.
Kisminsky.
That one at least sounds like my name. You should hear what I get at the school.
Oh no, what do you get?
Kaminsky.
Oh,
That-
so filthy.
Yeah, I know. There's about 3 extra N's in that. I don't see how you get my name again.
No, Kizminski is so much better.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
And Andrew Kirkendall, face kicker. All right, that really does the things with the stuffs. As
the
always,
pudding pops.
the pudding pops. And also, David Radcliffe says you could just say that name stop to our Amazon Echo, or I could just yell at her for upsetting me, which is what I do all the time.
You just like to, hold the rage in until it explodes.
It's true. So like we always do, we're going to end our episode with a music video. This one is provided by MC Lars, my best friend in the whole world. Freaking Jacob, you could suck it with your, oh my God, what's his name? See, I don't even care. That's like how little I care. I don't care that you're friends with, kind of funny, what's his name? Oh my God. Colin Moriarty and
I'm just like
the other guy. I don't even care that you're friends with the other guy, Jacob. So here's a music video. Does your best friend make music videos like this? No. Peace.
So you want to use the internet? Be nice.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully. It's never okay to post rumors or threats, to spread lies about your peers, or send harassing texts, impersonating people, sharing private information, photoshopping pictures to cause humiliation, cracking someone's password or hacking their account, stealing people's credit cards and charging large amounts. These things are illegal. You might end up in prison. Don't Snapchat while you drive. It might impair your vision. Don't be a grouchy grump or a misanthropic chump. Say nice things on the internet. Don't be like Donald Trump. Politics on Facebook can be so polarizing when friends and family start to post opinions so surprising. Don't enter in the flame wars. You can always close the screen. Go up for a walk instead of being mean. When it comes to online etiquette, take action, my advice. Don't talk that trash on YouTube just because you hate your life.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully.
When I was a little girl, my daddy told me a bully is a kid who takes your lunch money. Looking at my screen, I miss the good old days when you could see a bully coming and walk the other way. We're living in a world where we're epically connected to mean tweets, live feeds, rude comments on Reddit. We could all be nicer. I think we're well aware, so I've developed a list of kind things you might share. A selfie of you hanging with your grandparents. A status about how a seed grows when you plant it. Beautiful landscapes, sunset photos, water refracting light twice, double rainbows, poodles and tutus dancing on their hind legs, a mountain lion and a dolphin making friends. First Sunday of May, a nice shout out to your mother. College ball, half court, buckets at the buzzer.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully. Lorraine had strong opinions on the Second Amendment, and anyone who disagreed with her, she unfriended. With every single click, she felt like a hero, till she woke up one day and her friend count was 0.
Back in 2004, there was a really mean blog written by girls who hated Katie's songs. 10 years later, they couldn't get tickets. Her show at the Garden sold out in 2 minutes.
Sam was from LA, trolling every day, telling girls on Instagram that they should watch their weight. Drinking Mountain Dew as he crafted every post till he gained 1,000 pounds and couldn't leave his home.
When we hear the word troll, we think mean and unstable.
Not cute plastic dolls with jewels in their navels.
Xenophobic tweets
Or racist peppy memes.
are not what Lars and me
Wanna see up on our feeds.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be a cyber bully.
You gotta be kind to people online. A good friend is what you might find. You gotta be kind to people online.
Don't be cyberbully. Thank you for watching our new video. I'm dropping 2 new songs a month on Patreon. Check it out and support. Also, subscribe to my channel. Lots of fresh flavor, right, Pickles?
Right.
Bye.
Bye.